All right. Thomas, welcome to our best possible future.
Thank you for having me.
It's so great. We met on a WhatsApp thread, international WhatsApp thread, found out we're both in Sydney, got to meet in person, which was so cool. And now here we are. Super excited to have this conversation. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Happy Monday.
Oh, happy Monday. What a great way to start the week.
Yeah,
So so I love to start these conversations off with a big question, and that is, how do you feel we can co-create our best possible future?
I think the thing I always talk about is people, because the one constant in all of that is the person themselves, in terms of it's always going to be you that's there. So I focus on that. So if you want to have the best possible future, then you've got to be able to tap into the best version of yourself.
Mm,
And if we can do that, then that's the foundation for everything. How
yes.
we relate, how we work, how we thrive, everything. So
Mm,
that's what.
absolutely. I love it. Okay, so tell us a little bit about you, of how you got to know this and focus on this, and what's a bit of your story, Thomas?
I'll try and keep it brief without rambling if I can. I To keep it really succinct. When I was training as a chartered accountant, I developed an ectopic heartbeat due to chronic stress. At the time, I would never have said I was stressed, just busy, got a lot to do. But the impacts of that on life, how you eat, how you sleep, had a lasting physical change on my actual heart. Fast forward about 6 years later, as I was working, I was told that I wouldn't be able to have kids
Mm.
because I was so burnt out. And but right on cue,
Yeah, right on cue.
right on cue, this one.
Oh my gosh,
Hey, hello. We had this one about
hello.
22 months ago.
Oh my
Um,
goes.
we were told we would need IVF and stuff like that, but we didn't.
I love that you came and joined us right now.
Yeah,
Thank
that was good
you.
timing.
It's
Good timing. So I'm going to
amazing.
hand this one back.
Okay. Bye.
Say bye bye. Say bye bye. In a wave. In a wave. Bye bye. Bye
Oh.
bye.
Oh
I
my gosh.
Yeah. So my system was so fried, so burnt out, that they looked at my account and they were like, "There's no way." So I had to address a lot of things that I knew intellectually but wasn't putting into practice. How to sleep well, how to eat, optimize nutrition, how to manage my energy. And in that same year, I attended a new masculinity retreat. This was 2018. And during that, we did an extended, prolonged breathwork session. It was kind of a combination of a few different modalities. And it was transformative because I realized that was what I was missing. Because it completely dropped you out of your head. It completely brought you back down, just released so much tension and pressure and strain from the body in like one session. That was the missing piece for me. And so then I went on a bit of a journey to explore and figure out what this was, and train and yeah. So I've been on a bit of a deep dive since then.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I think you're a bit ahead of the curve, because I'm sure in not too distant future, everyone will understand the breath more and the power of it, and the breath work, but all different beautiful ways we can use it to help us
Yeah.
um, be at our best. But tell me, have you got a little tip that we could do today? Something practical we could implement that you can talk us through?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I like to tell people that they know more than they realize, right? So can I start
Mm.
with what can I do? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you can
so
start however you like, Thomas.
so if imagine you're with someone, right? You're with someone, you're in a cafe, you're at home, whatever it is, and they pick up their phone and they look at their phone and they're doing this, and then they go, what's your reaction? You're wondering what's just happened. Tell
Probably.
me, you've had a
Yeah.
shock, something's happened. Because we know intuitively, when you hear someone go, that something shocking in some way has happened. Their body is instantly, in one breath, got them ready, prepared for something, right? It's charged them very quickly. Or if I do the opposite, if I look at my phone and I go, oh, just 1 second, and I go, again,
Disappointment.
you already know that what's happened, what's wrong. I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed, something's irritated me, and my body is very quickly, intuitively, without me even thinking about it, trying to calm me down. Right? Your breath is inseparable from your emotional state. Like, your breath is a response. But the beauty of our breath, unlike my heart rate, unlike my digestive system, I can't change those at will, but I can change my breathing. So it's my back door into my nervous system. And so awareness is power. Awareness in any situation. How am I feeling? What am I doing? Awareness of any problem. Can I understand the problem first? Can I actually be aware of it, or am I too consumed? So becoming aware of your breathing is actually really powerful. And so the thing that I always ask people to do is ask themselves one question: how do you know you're breathing? And if you notice when you ask yourself that question, what did you do? You focused, you tried to feel something, right? You tried to feel something. And then I'll help them. How do you know? Do you feel it in your nose? Do you feel your chest moving, your belly moving? What do you notice? How do you actually know you're breathing? And by doing that, you've done two things. You've changed your focus. So your mind, you stopped thinking about whatever you were thinking about. It's gone. So you've tuned into the present moment. You've stopped your racing mind and you've just tuned into your body. And by doing that, you've noticed your body, and you're instantly going to you'll slow your breathing down instantly. So how do you know you're breathing is one.
That's good. That's good. I haven't heard that question before. That's great.
And like I said, emotions are only ever two things. It's what's going on in the body and what's going on in the mind. And so the reason breath work and breathing techniques are so powerful is they get you to do something with both. You change your physiology and you do something with the mind. So you're changing your focus and your physiology straight away. And then another bonus, I suppose, the thing to think about is so if you think about a swing in a playground, left to right, your breathing's doing exactly the same thing. It's going inhale, change direction, exhale, change direction, inhale. And so the other point of power to tune into very quickly to stop a racing mind is, can you just feel in your body the point when your inhale stops and your exhale starts? Just notice when that happens. And again, there's a couple of things that you'll notice. You'll notice you stop your racing mind, you've tuned into the body, you've become completely present with yourself. All of a sudden, your whole breathing rate just feels like it's just a bit calmer. And if you notice how you feel when I'm doing that, when I'm just giving you those questions and I'm doing that demonstration, my emotional state is affecting your emotional state, because emotions are contagious. And so if we can regulate how we are in any moment, we can have an impact on an entire room of people. If you walk in and you're the one with an even temperament, you're the one who's calm and collected. That poem by Rudyard Kipling, if you can keep your head about you when everyone else is losing theirs, that whole idea of emotions being contagious is powerful.
That is super powerful.
And that's just two simple things. I mean,
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh. Shame this is a very short chat. We'll have to have another one. We would definitely have to have another one. What is the type of people you would love to reach out to you and connect with, and how can they do that? What's the best way to get in touch?
Well, I mean, the two primary channels I direct people to is LinkedIn. particularly if it's to do with corporate work or Instagram. I mean, I tend to I repurpose lots of stuff between the two platforms, but it's just easy to get hold of me on those two because there's direct messaging, right? So Instagram and LinkedIn. I do have a website with a contact form and things like that, but those two channels are great. And I suppose for me, it depends on from what perspective people are listening. I do some private sessions with dental nurses, women who have to perform under high stress in their practical exams. So they got to perform under pressure from examiners. And it's a one shot, one trial to pass your exam. And if you don't, you got to wait for a year. And maybe English is not even their first language. And so how do they deal with the anxiety between going from one patient to the next? How do they be present for the examiners? So that's one. It's like a very real, practical application of what that is. I'm going to recruitment consultants on Thursday. We're doing a client event for them to help to just as a kind of a value added that they do. But ultimately, I work with companies to help them help their people. Companies have very different motives. You know, some are looking at improving their reputation as an employer, their employer branding, what it's like to work here. Some are looking to improve their culture. Some are looking to manage risks. There's lots of new legislation around work health and safety now that's coming out, where employers have to manage and look after their what would you call it, psychosocial hazards in the workplace. And a lot of that revolves around emotional support and workload and how people are dealing with that. And so that's where my work really impacts people on an individual basis. How do you work with stress? And so, yeah, it's quite broad, and I struggle. This is where I really struggle, because I know it's
can help everyone.
can help everyone, right?
Yeah.
But if you're trying to help everyone, you're helping no one.
That's right.
You know, that's a bit of a tangent that we could go on in terms of, but I'm not a marketer, and I'm not someone who, I understand and I appreciate that I have to be able to articulate who I want, how it can help, but it can help everyone. So
I think what's great, though, you've given some great examples, and the fact that you have a lot of corporate experience, it's a great place to play, because there's a lot of stress in that environment. So yes, you can help other areas, but really for now, that's a great place for you, from what I get from what our conversations have been. And so thank you for sharing, and we can definitely reach out to you. I'll put the LinkedIn link and Instagram in this as well. So thank you so much for being here. I just adore you. I can't wait to have more conversations. And I just love that your daughter was able to make a guest appearance at the right time as well.
at that time, she just come out the shower.
She's so cool.
I mean, look, the thing for me is, you know, I've used the word stress because it resonates with a lot of people. But like I said at the very start, when the doctor told me I was stressed, I said, I'm not stressed.
Busy.
Because the word stress, even the guy who coined the term, Selye, he was from Central Europe, and it was a translation issue. He said it's probably not the best word. We should be thinking along the lines of strain. We should be thinking along the lines of pressure, toil. And so those ideas, a lot of people just think they're very busy. I've got a lot on at the moment. I don't have enough time. You know, what is it? I'm wired and tired. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overworked and underpaid. Like these ideas, like this is what we mean by stress. It's how activated are you, and for how long is that? How long is that lasting? You know, are you experiencing this all day, every day? Is it very common? Is it frequent? Is it for a long time? Because you can deal with what's causing the stress, you can deal with how you respond to it, and you can deal with how you recover from it. And so those three ideas are, and I tend to focus a lot on how you react to it in the moment and how you recover from it.
I love that. I love that you kind of unpack that a little bit, because I do agree there's a lot of words that are just thrown around, stress, anxiety, brain fog, burnout. Like Does
Yeah.
anyone know what they actually mean? I think they're more kind of labels that
Yeah.
we're guessing what we think that means. And stress, to unpack it, is like, actually, you probably think you're busy, you're a little overwhelmed, or just totally always on that rat race, not even though even though I
Exactly.
thought after COVID everyone would not
Yeah.
choose that, but we've gone back to that, many of us. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that doesn't have to be how we live, and
No.
these techniques can give a completely different experience of your day-to-day life.
Well,
Very simply, right? Like, so simple to just
and that's it.
really, yeah.
And that's it. You know, there's burnout is downstream from stress, right?
Mm.
If you stressed for too long, it's too much for too long, eventually you get burnt out. So burnout, there's this old image from there's this old kind of idea, very old idea, that you can cross a river at any point you want. But where are you going to cross the river? Are you going to cross the river at the mouth of the river where it's a raging torrent and it's 2 miles wide and it's going into the sea? Or are you going to cross it at its source when it's a very small stream and you can just step over it?
Mm.
It's the same with what I do. You can deal with burnout if you want. And if you're there, you have to
If you
deal with it,
want.
right? If you're there, you have to deal with it. You have to cross that raging torrent. Or you can deal with it upstream very early and deal with it moment to moment and recover on a daily basis and keep it in check. Because you're never going to
Mm.
remove stress from your life. It's not going
Yeah,
to,
it's
it's
part of
not
life. Yeah,
possible.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
how can you get control back? How can you be your best version of yourself in any moment? What can you do, even when you're tired, even when you're hungry, even when you are lacking sleep, for whatever those reasons might be, when you've got a lot of deadlines on, when you're under a lot of pressure? How can you be the best version of yourself in that moment, whatever that might mean in that moment? So,
That's really cool. And if you're watching this, perhaps this is a tap, because I love how, you know, we first get a little light feather, and then it becomes a bit of a pebble, and then a rock, and a brick, and then a brick house, and a Mack truck, you know, if we don't listen.
yeah,
So how are you really? And if you are under a lot of pressure, if you are under feeling that overwhelm and busy and just not really in a happy state, not in joy, not in calm, not in any of those beautiful possibilities very often, then this is something definitely to address.
yeah. Well, and this is it. I mean, if you look at when you, there's nothing, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being busy.
Mm.
We need to be, you know, there's things that happen that, you know, if you're involved in your passion project and you're plowing yourself into something and it's consuming you, that's fine. But I can tell you that you're probably eating whilst you're on the train or you're on the bus or you're walking from one place to another. You're not eating well, you're probably not sleeping well, and that's okay for a short time. But then how do you recover? How are you going to rebound? How are you going to rejuvenate yourself? Because if you don't, I mean, we all know that when your phone dies, you have to charge it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're only running one application, it takes a while for it to die down. But if you're running lots of intensive things continually, it drains very quickly. And I've got to get my phone charged again. But are you charging yourself back again? Like, what are you doing? And so there's nothing wrong with our life, but it's what are we doing for our own self-care? Because if you don't, the universe will hit you with a big stick. It hit me with a big stick and changed my heartbeat. I've got an ectopic heartbeat now. And so yeah, if you don't listen, it will make you listen.
Yeah, I think that's that is definitely going to happen. And so you've drawn me to kind of like, you've given us a couple of practical things about our
Yep.
breath.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you said, you know, the phone needs charging. What would you say is a good practice of charging ourselves every day? Have you got suggestions around that you recommend, or is it different for everyone?
Well, it is different, and it depends on what we mean. But I guarantee the most important thing that many people are neglecting is their sleep, because it doesn't matter if you're training at the gym, whatever it is, or if you've had an emotional day. Your sleep is where your body and your nervous system recover. Your muscular system adapts when you're asleep. Your brain and your dreams are all your body's nervous system way of dealing with your emotions and your memories and your thoughts. And when you've been learning during the day, you consolidate it at nighttime. So The one thing that I did that completely that gave me the foundation to fix everything else was fix my sleep. And so, I mean, I track my sleep now with this ring, but there's lots of different things out there. And ultimately, it's about, do you give yourself a non-negotiable sleep window? Now, some people will convince themselves they can get by on 5 hours sleep. The research out there says that the amount of people that can do that is 0. And if you're exactly right, and if you can convince we can do it. We're human beings, we're adaptable, but you won't be able to do it for long. And the downstream implications of that, then the problem, it's very similar to the problem with climate. We don't see, it's very difficult to act on the climate because the problem is so far away that it's difficult. It's not immediate. It's not, it's not right there in front of us. And it's the same with your sleep. If you neglect your sleep, then you are going to cause yourself so many downstream effects in the future. And so the one thing that will impact everything else, how impactful your exercise is, how well you digest your food, how well you recover from what you've done one day to the next, is your sleep. And so give yourself a non-negotiable period of sleep and wind down before it. And honestly, there's so much stuff out there on sleep. I highly recommend Matthew Walker's stuff out there about sleep. That's the first thing. And breathing obviously helps your sleeping, because if you know anyone who's got sleep apnea, people who snore a lot, they're struggling with the quality of their sleep. But first and foremost, give yourself a non-negotiable window to sleep. Wind down, same time every night, get up at the same time every day, and let your body set its rhythm, because we are rhythmical beings. Our heart has a beat and a rhythm, our breathing has a rhythm and a beat, and so does our rhythm, our daily rhythms. And so help your body set itself.
Wow, cool. Extra bonuses again. Thank you. Okay. Well, really loved chatting with you, Thomas, and absolutely keen to dive deeper on all those topics.
I could ramble about it forever, honestly.
But yeah,
I go off on tangents.
So thank you for being with me today. Thank you for those who've tuned in. So please like, comment, share, ask questions, and we'll get Thomas back as well. So final thoughts, Thomas, what would you like to leave us with today?
I always say to people, you've got way more control over your daily experience than you either realize or have been led to believe. There's a phrase that resonates with me: it's skills, not pills. You might need to see someone, you might need a specialist, sure. But before you do that, you've got way more influence over what your experience of your life is on a daily basis. You can change your physiology, you can change your focus in an instant. And so it's having that trust in yourself again, that if you listen to yourself and you work with yourself, you can actually move towards being the best version of yourself, for sure.
I love that. Yeah, that's so true. We have unlimited potential that we're not even tapping into the tiniest little bit. We're so powerful. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. Thank you, Thomas. Really adore you. And till next time, keep on loving.
Thank you so much, Deb. Thank you for bringing me on and giving me a chance to speak about stuff I could ramble on about for hours. So thank you.
Thanks.